Welcome back, guys. This is the Nerd Review. I'm Tony Hansen, joined by the rest of the Audio Dungeon crew, and today we're going over Spider-Man. I think it's there's every title has home in it. Is this one was No Way Home?
Yeah,
No Way
right?
Home.
I always fear I'm saying the wrong one. So it's No Way Home, Home in the Range. Who can get them all worked out? So guys, we're gonna talk about it. Me and Vinny, fun fact. Vinny Pro saw it the exact last day it was in the theaters. Literally almost the last showing of the last day. And I want to see it. I know, Dan, you saw it at home, right?
Yeah, I watched it last week.
So do you feel like there was a big difference if you would have saw it in theater about how you felt about it? I don't know how you feel about it totally, but
yeah, definitely. I think, well, first of all, I think the entire movie was just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I missed the wave on it, and it was just built up way too much for me. And I definitely feel like seeing it in theaters would have made it a little better.
So I loved it. I thought it was great, but I definitely felt like it was diminished. It was like seeing something that was like the cat was out of the bag already, and then I was just like living on the fumes of that buzz because I saw it so late. But I have to go back and remember how I felt when everybody was out seeing it and I was not seeing it. I was like, this is amazing. I was so into it. It's just that buzz was separated from me watching it, and then we're not together. So, but I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. Let's go around. Liam, what do you think?
I saw it at like 2 days after it released, and I saw it in 4D. Have you guys seen 4D movies yet? Because those are so good. So like every time they were swinging webs, it was like psh, psh, blowing air in your face. It was great. But besides that aspect, I loved it. It was like right up there at top Marvel movies for me.
Catherine?
I actually saw it recently, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I liked it. I thought it was interesting how they tied everything together in the multiverse world. I was interested to see how.
Yeah, it's even more exciting than it would be for a normal Spider-Man movie. The fact that you have all the Spider-Mans in it. Damien?
So I saw it in theaters towards the end of the release as well, and I liked it a lot. It was just really impressive and also kind of emotional. It had some sad kind of parts in it, and I just I can't wait to see it again. But yeah, I liked it a lot for sure.
Brian?
I liked it. I also think it was emotional at some points. Like I saw it 3 times, 2 of them within the same week.
Wow.
The next week, and then my throat had that lump at the same part 2 out of the 3 times. But I liked seeing all the Spider-Mans in one movie. I thought some of the parts were a little corny, but it was like, all right, I get it. Like they're all here. But other than that, I thought the storyline was good. I liked Doctor Strange, and it got me excited to see the Doctor Strange stuff.
Yeah.
Very good.
Awesome. Which part of the movie got the lump in your throat?
Spoilers, right? Spoilers are fine.
Spoiler alerts, guys. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
When he's on the range and he's
Stop. When he's home, on the range.
Well done.
Thank you. The death of Aunt May was just sad. It was just sad because it was just sad. He was crying everywhere.
Yeah, I told my brother I didn't cry during that, and he asked me if I was human.
I also cried during when Spider-Man leaves, and him and Zendaya are saying their goodbyes. I forget her name in the movie. But
MJ, come on.
Before she forgets about him, or after in the coffee shop.
Right before she forgets about him, they're crying and stuff. And
yeah.
Aunt May got me, definitely, and that exact other scene that Liam just said, right at the end, you're just like, oh, that's it. It's over. Everything's different for him. And the Aunt May scene when she died, I thought I liked that it was. I feel like they were very conscious of the fact that the story's been done so many times before, and they didn't want to rehash anything, but I feel like they made it very real for a superhero film. It was very different. It wasn't on the regular flow of somebody dying. There's always these little things that throw you off and to make it different. And I think that's what really made it heartfelt for me. I don't know, maybe about you guys. What did you guys think?
I like that you didn't yeah, you didn't see it coming, but it made sense. Like he hits her with the thing, and then she's talking and she's up and stuff, and then she goes to leave, and then she starts feeling the effects of the wound. So
Right.
it kind of like psychs you out a little bit, and then you're like, all right, I get it though. So it was good.
So let's talk about all the villains that were in the movie. Who's everybody's favorite villain?
Green Goblin.
Dr. Octopus.
Yeah.
I think he was a good guy in this movie, like for the most part. Like he had.
He is in the regular ones too, not the regular, the older ones.
Okay.
You know, he's a good guy turned bad because of that little, I want to say chip or whatever it was, and he's kind of turned because of that. So that kind of fell into role. And the Green Goblin storyline was similar in the fact that he was just, I don't know, mesmerized by the other side of his personality.
But the thing that kind of bothered me about that, though, is that, like, in this universe, so you have your Spider-Man, and he's like, no, I don't want to send everybody back to the original timelines because I don't want what happened to these villains to happen to them. Like, I want to change it so that, like, you know, we can make them better, and then when they go back to their original timelines, like, you know, they could be living better lives, and Spider-Man doesn't have to kill them. But just, I don't know, like, looking back at the movies now, were these just, like, shitty Spider-Mans who just, like, I'm just gonna kill you now. Like, I don't have to worry about making you better. I think it just kind of, like, I don't know, like spoiled them a little bit.
Well, no, I think it's because those Spider-Mans have regretted that they had to kill those people the whole time. So they're like, maybe we can redeem ourselves as well.
Oh, I see.
And I also think maybe the idea of him knowing that like multiverse exists presented that opportunity for him to want to change them and like give them a good outcome. Because if Tobey Maguire didn't realize that he could possibly like have somebody turn good in a different universe and bring it back into his, then maybe he would have if he had known.
Yeah, I mean, you know, thinking back, I don't think they were really going out of their way to kill them, but I mean, like that is just kind of like how it ended up. But that's a good thought, though, Liam. That, like, you know, now that they have the chance to go ahead and, you know, right what was wrong, it's kind of, it's admirable. But I liked seeing Willem Dafoe again, and I thought he was awesome as Green Goblin.
He was great.
It made me realize how young he was in the original ones when I saw him now, and I was like, I guess I was younger, obviously, and I was seeing him as older, and then obviously time has passed, and now I'm like, I feel like he's like the same old age. I look back and I was like, no, he's so much younger. You just, you just can't tell. You just don't think about it. God.
I was gonna say also, if you think about it, like the MCU, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the only one he's gone through so much more than the other Spider-Men in terms of his, like, to that moment, you know what I mean? He's fought Thanos and everybody. Yeah. Those other guys haven't. So like has much more grand concept of kind of all these different elements to what makes villains. So I think he kind of even sees those villains as not really villains to an extent. It's like, oh, these are just guys. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been fighting giant aliens trying to explode the universe.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's a good point. He's like, this could be fixed, you know, but it's not like Thanos or something crazy like that. Yeah. He in the end of the day, he's the one with the most experience, I guess, right? Like which Spider-Man do you want on your side if you have to have any one of the three?
It has to be Tom Holland, I would say.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Iron Man training.
Yeah, if only for the Stark tech, right?
Yeah, he comes with the whole Iron Man technology. It's true.
Yeah.
I loved all of them talking to each other. I gotta say, Tobey Maguire, I was excited for the idea of all the Spider-Man being in the movie together, but I wasn't like necessarily excited to see Tobey Maguire in it. Just cool to see them all together. And then the second I saw him in the Spider-Man suit, I was like, oh wow, this is great. and I love him as like the mentor Spider-Man. And when he gets in the way and stops Tom Holland Spider-Man, you know, from killing Goblin, I think it was Goblin, right?
Yeah.
And I just loved it. That got me too. Talk about the parts that got me. That part got me.
Oh yeah.
It's just the way he was doing it. He's holding it up, and he's just like, he's not changing his facial expression. He's like, Kind of like saying, "It's okay. Listen, I'm stopping you. It's all right. Come on down."
Yeah.
I thought it was wonderful.
It was like a very nice moment. I feel like his face reminded me of when he's like holding the train. Oh crap! When he's like holding the train back
Yep.
in his movie. That's what his face.
Oh
reminded me
yeah,
of.
Yeah, that's what I thought of too at that point.
it's a weird face for him.
Oh, the train.
I-
The weird face.
Train face, yes. I always love how I love the whole story of Spider-Man. I love how it's like friendly neighborhood, New York style, and they did a lot of that with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series because it was always a reference to like, this is New York, you know, you can't stop us, we're gonna help you out. They stand up for him, whatever. Of course, they get thrown aside in 2 seconds, you know. But I love the vibe with it, and the New York vibe is in the Tom Holland movies, but in a more realistic way. You know, not like that we want to stand up for you, New York, but more like this is New York, and like this is how we do things.
I don't know. I think I see it from the other viewpoint, like Liam was saying. You know, like you're kind of seeing Spider-Man through the scope of the MCU. You know, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man is like what's the conflict in this movie? It's like he opened up a rift in the multiverse, and now you have like different villains and different heroes from other universes piling through. And in the other movies, what was the climax of Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire? It's like a subway car is gonna crash and he has to save a subway full of people, you know. So like that's why I feel like you're right with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. It was very much like New York centric, and it's like, hey, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm taking care of the neighborhood. But with Tom Holland, it's like I gotta set the multiverse right, you know. I feel like there's not much room for New York to have much of a character in that movie.
I think they also did a lot of that part of his character off screen, like all the times, you know, the whole montage of him like texting Happy, like, "Hey, I'm just, you know, saving the city, but I need bigger things." I think that's all supposed to be when he was doing all those other New York-y, local hometown hero kind of stuff.
Right. Coming in from Richard Weil, I love the fact that they fixed the web that comes out of your bit.
Yes.
That was great.
That was great.
It was good that they addressed that in the movie too.
It's a funny thing that needed to be addressed. It was great that they mentioned it. I love when they were all just talking to each other, and I could have watched another 5 minutes of that. You know,
Oh yeah.
Which part? On the scaffolding or in the lab?
both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
But yeah, like the scaffolding. The web part was in the scaffolding, and the lab kind of had just some of that stuff. They were talking about MJ and whatever else they were talking about there. But yeah. So let's talk about now what's coming up next. Like, what do we think is going to happen now that we're going into Doctor Strange? Anybody have any ideas?
Well, we know the next Doctor Strange movie is about the multiverse, so.
And him probably trying to fix things.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I also don't know if Tom Holland is done with Marvel.
No.
In a sense, not as being Spider-Man. That's not what I mean. What I mean is done with Marvel, as in like everything he does might be in the like Sony universe. Somebody was saying something like that, and then it kind of made me think that, oh wow, he may have finished his run of movies, and I don't know. It's possible that now they close it off and put him in his own bubble, and continue the franchise forward with him and those villains, or whichever ones they want to fight again, or maybe with the other Spider-Man, or I don't know. Or do they bring everything into the Marvel bubble?
Yeah, I think it's going the other way. I saw it as they've been tailoring Spider-Man to take over like the Iron Man role of like carrying each movie. Like I was picturing him making an appearance in a lot of movies going forward, like Tony Stark was doing.
Oh, I never thought that. I think he's a big player in it, but like the leadership role, I think he's too young, because that's like against his role in the Avengers team, kind of. I mean, who they're leading on right now as a leader, because I think you know what? It's interesting. Captain America is gone, and Iron Man is gone, and they probably did that on. What's the matter?
The Captain America's not gone. There is a Captain America now.
He's
Well,
just
no.
evil.
What I mean is the first Captain America.
Steve,
I
yeah.
think what I'm going to say is I think they wanted to take out the two actors that they purposely didn't want anyone to be in charge to centralize everything. They wanted to leave it open so that almost like you feel no focus going in one direction, and therefore it's okay to watch any story in the Marvel universe that pops up in all different directions. Like they're enjoying the multiverse, they're enjoying this on this, and this character from here, because we were able to get rid of the main plot line for a little bit. Of course, it'll start coming back together, and the pacing will get back on track probably for Galactics, whoever we're going to fight in the future. But they took out Iron Man, they took out the first Captain America, and then they leave everybody in this other like sphere of I don't want to say secondary characters, but without this like sphere of leadership or importance. So I wonder if that was intentional. I think it would be, and they want to just allow them to tell them, different stories. So we're also in a different time where like I feel like Marvel thinks that they can't tell the same story they would be able to tell 12 years ago. Like there's more pressure on making a movie at a higher quality. And I think Marvel has been constantly anticipating that, Michael Feige and Kevin Feige, sorry, and realizing that this just can't be this anymore. It needs to be this. And so it goes something crazier. And the multiverse needs to be on top of it. Things that we have not done before. So I think that they're always trying to make sure they're on par with the hype level, because playing Spider-Man up with all different Spider-Mans was exactly what we needed. Because if it was just another Spider-Man movie, think about it. You would have been like, yeah, it was pretty good. It was okay. Spider-Man is good. But not what they want to do. They want you to be excited at every level. And they're doing that. So I think Marvel is forced to do more things, bigger things, more wild things, which is why we're in the multiverse. And I think to start all that off, you have to take away Iron Man and take away Captain America, let it breathe, let it go out all directions. And then maybe you could bring it back in the multiverse because of whatever. But like now we're in this anything goes phase.
Yeah, I forget. You guys haven't seen the end of What If and Loki, have you?
I haven't. Loki, I have.
Yeah, Loki. I've seen the end of Loki. I just watched the third episode of What If today, so I still got that to go through.
Because the very end of What If, like, ties much more into like the MCU stuff than like the rest of the series, because a lot of them are one-offs, but the last two episodes like bridge heavily into the MCU and like the Spider-Man movie and what will be the new Doctor Strange. So like I definitely recommend checking those out, because they've been like shattering everything, because I don't even know which angle they're going to pull from to get this Doctor Strange movie to focus on, because they've got like areas spinning all around. It's like chaos right now in terms of their timeline and stuff.
Do they mention anything in What Ifs about X-Men?
I was wondering that.
I forget if they do or not.
I was looking at the titles of the episodes today. I didn't see anything about.
Yeah, I don't think they pull on X-Men yet. I don't know if they have those rights locked in yet.
And that's another example of like knowing what they need. It's almost like they're very extremely keyed in. It feels like they've always been that way. Keyed into what is cool now, what's exciting now in the next part of the story, and what can we get away with. And then now we have to up our game, so we're going to do that. And they know they have X-Men sitting in the back of their pocket, and they're like, okay, we need to play this card. Let's get ready to play it up. And then when you think about it, I'm excited for that. And you're keeping my excitement level, because that's great. But if you just said they're rebooting the X-Men series, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll go see it. But that's not what they want.
Yeah. I want to see
the higher level.
integrate with everybody else.
Yeah, like now I'm seeing Patrick Stewart in Doctor Strange, and I'm like losing my mind. Literally, I'm losing my mind. But if it's just like him in another movie, I'd be like, okay, I'd be excited, but not like this level of excitement, just because it's that.
Yeah.
Simple things done in a different way, just somehow make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like when you remove Steve, you remove Tony Stark, and now like after Endgame, like there's pretty much no more Avengers. So you do have that feeling that like everyone kind of can, like their own personal stories can unfold. Like what do we got? Like we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we got WandaVision, we got Hawkeye. We had this No Way Home story. Now we're getting Moon Knight too, and it feels like a lot of the things that we're getting now are these kind of like, I don't want to say self-contained, because like it seems like this whole theme of alternate universes kind of like crashing in on themselves is going to become more apparent and more the center of attention as we move forward, especially with, it seems like Doctor Strange is going to break that whole issue wide open. But I don't know, like I keep thinking back, obviously we know how phases 1, 2, and 3 ended with, the Infinity Gauntlet and with Thanos in Endgame, and thinking back, it's like the common threads in Avengers, in Captain America, in the Thor movies is like there's always one of the Infinity Stones that was at the center of the movie, or that they were going after, or that was the center of conflict. So now it's like, okay, like is there something similar that we can see? Like even though we're seeing disjointed stories, like what's the common thread? And it seems to be that it's the multiverse. So like, okay, how is it all going to come together, and are all the characters going to come together somehow? I think that's like the kind of the biggest thing in my mind right now, at least, is how is all that going to come together to get us through phase 4 and into phase 5.
And that's that same pressure, like, it's because in a story, I feel like you always want to have that pressure going forward, and it could be something subtle, but it's something important in the background, and you always want to know what's going to be the next thing. And that one strong question in the beginning was not even the Infinity Gauntlets; it was the idea of the Infinity Gauntlet and the crystals, the Soul Stones and such. But it was like, wow! If you remember back this far, I heard that they're going to make a movie where they all go in the same movie at the same time. And that blows everyone's mind, because that's never been done before. And that was like, people just losing their shit over that, and that's what it was, me included, because that was exciting. And then when it came out, you're like, this is amazing. They were all on the same thing, same screen. And that's all we needed to be impressed. But now, we're at the stage where the multiverse is the most exciting thing, and that's wild to us because, who hasn't played Dungeons and Dragons where you threw in a Jedi into a Dungeons and Dragons routine, and you're like, that's awesome. Because we like doing stupid, silly stuff like that. And I think now the multiverse, we're having fun with that. And that question that what's going on is what's going to happen with the multiverse? How's it going to affect? And your mind starts putting every combination, like your favorite thing, Wolverine and Iron Man's going to come back for another. I still think that. I'm going to stand by the prediction that they're going to bring back Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. Eventually. People are talking about how they might do it with Tom Cruise in this one coming up, which would be amazing and interesting. But I think that they're going to bring Tony Stark back in a huge moment down the line as like him from another dimension where he didn't die. And that's exciting to me. And I painted that picture myself, and everyone is doing that right now. And that's enough to keep everyone excited about what's going to happen, your own imaginations.
Mm-hmm. Counterpoint to that, though.
Sure.
Doctor Strange looked through all the timelines, and he was like, there's only one where it works, and that was when Tony died. So how could he come back?
But that's from his point of view, though, isn't it? From off his shoot of his timeline, how do they save it?
I'm just trying to think how he could have not died. I guess it's true, because there could be another universe where Thanos isn't even involved.
Right.
So that's true.
It's gonna be nuts.
So, yeah, it is gonna be nuts. I think it's gonna be a good movie. Obviously, we have Wanda Maximoff back in it now. I think Wong is playing a big part in Doctor Strange coming up, and I don't think Spider-Man. I don't expect Spider-Man to be in this at all. Anybody hear anything otherwise?
Nope.
Don't know.
Yeah. So
nobody knows him.
That's right. Nobody knows him.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So let's get back to the movie really quick and end it there. Big moments from the movie that you thought were impactful or important. Anybody?
You mean like for future movies?
It could be for the future or important for the past. Whatever. The web shoot, the things come out of you. Web thing was important. We needed to know. We needed to talk about that as a global
society.
As a society, yes.
Him saving MJ, like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Yes, I thought that was brilliant. Why not give him something? And like that was, because it was like saying it doesn't have to all be about Tom Holland. Like let's give him something. He saved her, and that was a powerful moment, big time. And if they ever do another the great thing is they could do another movie with Andrew Garfield right now, and instantly
They
people would be
should.
more excited to see it.
Yeah.
Just see, like-
His was my favorite Spider-Man series of the ones that have come out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I loved those. I felt like they were the most realistic, the most like well shot, because it wasn't necessarily following like the MCU format. I really liked those movies a lot.
They're very different tone.
Yeah, I felt like they worked really well for Spider-Man.
Interesting. Anyone else? Any big impactful moments for the future or past?
Yeah, I think the relationship between Wong and Doctor Strange, like it made me curious just to see now that Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme, and Doctor Strange isn't. I'm curious to see more of like what their relationship is like, and like what Wong is capable of, what Doctor Strange is capable of, and how that's going to affect the Multiverse of Madness when it comes out. Because it's got to have something to do with this spell that he cast in this movie. I mean, you have different universes crashing into each other, so I just want to see, like, okay, well, what effect is that having on the Multiverse of Madness?
Oh, yes, that made me think what you just said. It's I guess it's not really involving with the multiverse, but at the end of the movie, the end credit with I think Venom leaving his little
Oh yeah.
thing.
If Vinny Pro is here, we'd be talking about that right away. So it's the whole movement of Venom jumping the timeline seems like it was just so they can put a little blob of Venom that is different and separate into the Spider-Man multiverse, because then he shifts out. So for me, I didn't love the whole thing. I love the idea that Venom will be there, but I feel like they had a conflict of like, well, is Venom a bad guy or a good guy? They were like, well, he's kind of like both, right? And so they wanted him to be a good guy in his own timeline, but they want him to be a bad guy in his own thing and change the story and probably take out some of the human elements that we've been gaining with him, right? So I feel like it feels very forced.
I think they're going to use it to bring, like, because I think the Venom blob will know who Spider-Man is, and then it'll let us regain knowledge of Spider-Man in the MCU somehow.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I wonder if they would cast a different Venom.
You could. That's good. That's probably the real point of what Ryan's saying, is that you now have the ability to cast someone else's Venom because it could attach to somebody else.
Yeah. I think that Venom it'll be like he'll attach to Tom Holland, and somehow it'll unwind the name spell through whatever the course of the movie they do with that.
Oh,
Maybe.
so he combines with Tom Holland, and because Venom has the mysteries of the universe in his head, that somehow can actually they probably work together. That's what's going to happen. They work together to kind of heal the multiverse
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, it's very possible. So let's go around, guys. That was an interesting talk. Let's give it 1 through 10. Ryan, we'll start with you. What do you give Spider-Man?
7.5.
7.5. Damien.
Uh,
I'm just mad at you. Would you say 7? Wow. Okay, Catherine.
I just feel like everyone's rating it so low. Like Ryan literally loved it enough to see it 3 times, and he's like 7.5.
Yeah. I thought it was a good movie, and I do think like there was parts of it that were like weird, but I did like it. Like, and I liked it because I saw clips of Iron Man recently and Tom Holland, so I was just like, I'm in it. I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna see this. But I think it's a movie. 7.5.
You know, that's a sign Ryan's becoming a nerd. He says he loved the movie, saw it 3 times, and then he's like, I love it, and then he gives it a lower rating. And that's how you know you're becoming a nerd, because you're starting to have bars for things.
Oh yes.
So you say like, "Oh, this movie was great, Star Wars, that was so good," and then you go to your friends and you'll shit all over it because you just you know, the things. I loved it. Here's everything I hated about it. And that's what happens. Catherine, what was your rating?
I would say like an 8.
An 8. Okay. Dan.
I'd say like a 6.5 out of 10.
Nice. Liam.
Everyone's being so mean to Spider-Man.
In like on like an MCU scale, I give it like a 9. If we're just rating it in terms of being a movie, then I guess lower, like a 7. But like in terms of the MCU universe, like I rate it as like one of the best ones. I give it a 9.
I would give it a little under that. I would say 8.5. But I really enjoyed it. Nothing wrong with it.
You guys got to see it in 4D. That's the trick. That it really gets you.
Yeah, maybe that's what did it. The 4D.
Well, the fact that
down, you're like getting flung around.
Liam saw it in the beginning,
That's true too.
and he saw it in theaters. For those who didn't see it in theaters, and you saw it when the hype was real, and not when the hype was old.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of thing is everything. I always believe that it's way more fun to like watch things along with the rest of the world because you're in on the memes, you're in on the jokes. People are stopping at the water cooler to talk about what happened this week, Game of Thrones, or Lost. Dan, like me and Dan watched Lost back in the day, and it's definitely fun to be involved. But yeah, so I give it 8.5 myself, guys. If you haven't seen Spider-Man, then you shouldn't be watching this, and you should go watch it because it's pretty good. I'm excited for Doctor Strange. It's coming up. We wanted to make sure we get this review in because, I mean, Doctor Strange has a lot to do with the next step of the story, and yeah. So, guys, that does it here for Audio Dungeon for Nerd Review, and thank you for watching.